Hello, hello. I am live. Gonna wait. I hope this is working. Um, oh, okay. Oh, I see. I see there's a little eye thing in the corner with the number. Okay, so this is working. Okay. Um, yeah, I heard there's a lag between me and you, so I probably won't be able to see comments until there might be like a little bit of a lag. But okay. Wow, this is so wild. Oh my God. Okay, I'll just wait a few minutes for people to join in, and then I'll start reading. Let me see. Maybe I'll post on Twitter. I'm live. Um, Menu. Okay. Yay! People are joining. Um, yeah. Sorry, I'm a little bit backlit, but hopefully you all can hear me. Yay! Okay, I'll give it a couple more minutes. Oh, okay, yay! Okay, I can see comments now. Thank goodness, I'm not alone in the world. Okay. So thank you for being here for Poets in Pajamas 73. I'm K-Ming Chang. I'm going to be reading very shortly a very brief short story from a collection that I've been working on. Um, it's still kind of in draft form, still feels very new, but actually it came out of a writing exercise where we were basically given like very random words and phrases and we had to incorporate it into a story. Um, and oh, hello. Okay, I'm so relieved. I was like, oh my God, what am I doing? Yeah, so no, this is great. Thank you. Thank you for joining and being here. Yeah, so as I was saying, it's a short piece. It's Poets in Pajamas, but this is just going to be prose in pajamas for tonight. Um, and I was saying that I wanted to read a love story, so I will be doing that. Um, Yay! Comments, hearts. Ah, this feedback is so validating to me right now. Thank you. Okay, so I don't know. I'll give one more minute and then I'll read. Um, but just thought I'd share that a book that thank you. I know I was very nervous because I was like I don't have any poems. I'm sorry, but you know sentences will have to do for today. But the book that I'm reading right now is called, I don't know, I feel like it's kind of, the quality is like not the best, but it's called Wild Meat and Bully Burgers by Lois Ann Yamanaka. She's both a poet and a prose writer, and I recently discovered her writing from a former teacher, and I've just like the rhythm of her language is just incredible. Taking a lot of inspiration from that. Uh, okay, I think I will start then. I will start. So yeah, as I prefaced before, in case you missed it, this is from a collection that I've been working on. And in this collection, there's a recurring character. Well, I mean, I don't know if she's really a recurring character, if I just really like this name, so I keep using it over and over again. But her name is Melon, and she kind of, they're like, this name, I guess that maybe I'm just obsessed with calling people Melon. I wanted to give her a bit of an origin story and a love story as well. So I will be reading from that. It's called Dirty Things, which was a title suggested by a friend. Don't know how accurate it is, but I'll start. Dirty Things. Hui Ling was the first woman whose name I said in the dark. I understudied her shadow, disowned my own. At night she is only her skin, only the places I know by touch, my fingers articulating the bone of her elbow, the particular angle of its sleep. Desire is that degree. The hinge of need, her knees opening where I reach my hands down to divorce them. My mother said I was born a god of rot, that she named me Melon because I was overripe. My skull split its skin and required a crop row of stitches. When I was little, everything I loved turned sour. Grapes deflated and loosened juice. The neighbor's cat licked me and became roadkill that same day, crows wearing necklaces of its intestines. My mother's breast milk curdled into yogurt the moment it met my mouth. When I touch Hui Ling, I am always afraid her skin will unclasp from her shoulders. Her fist will ripen and fall into my mouth. When her hand withdraws from me, I am pitted. I shine around her wrist like a bracelet. On the mattress in her apartment, I ask Hui Ling why there are no Chinese people in lesbian movies. We're watching Blue is the Warmest Color with subtitles on and the sound off, keeping ourselves from falling asleep by playing our favorite movie game, Count the Minorities. Does having blue hair count as being a minority? Hui Ling asks, and I say no, it does not. So we switch to counting pigeons in every shot of Lyon. Hui Ling tells me her father used to raise pigeons on his roof in Elam, that when he came to America and saw white pigeons released at a wedding, he thought this must be a funeral. The pigeons he raised were bred for death. They were racing pigeons, released in the middle of the Taiwan Strait and forced to fly home. Most of them died of exhaustion or were skewered by typhoon winds, dropping into the ocean by the thousands, a rain of birds. The day after a race, dead pigeons were pinned to the surface of the sea, washing up on the beach, bleached into buoys. My mother works the car wash on the only street in this city with a sidewalk, the pavement chipped like teeth and stained by rain. When I was little, my mother let me sit inside the cars as they nudged along the conveyor belt. I watched the blue brushes descend like molars, soap water salivating all over the windshield. I used to pretend the car was being swallowed by a whale, though no one I knew had ever read the Bible, and for years I believed Jonah had been digested, shat out by the whale the same way a car was ejected from the wash, the Subaru reopening its windows like eyes, the windshield flinching from light. We didn't allow the customers to stay in their cars while they were being washed. This was because, my mother said, people do dirty things inside while the outsides are being cleaned. Hui Ling says we can test this theory. I tell her the car wash isn't open yet. The sun is still fetal, still crowning between our legs. But Hui Ling doesn't believe in how days are divided. She doesn't subscribe to light. The day begins when she rises and ends when she sleeps, whether or not the sun is synced to this. I get out of bed and drive us there, bring the car wash key my mother gave me. We scour the glove box for quarters, and Hui Ling tells me when she was little, she thought glove boxes were only for keeping gloves. My mother used to line her glove box with Ziploc bags of ice, converting it into a travel-size freezer for the cold things she ate. Hongdou popsicles, berries iced into gems, Costco bags of frozen corn and peas. Eating cold things, she says, will freeze your ovaries. Years later, I realized she'd probably been sucking on popsicles to prevent me from being conceived. The car wash crouches behind a gas station. A neon sign blinks staccato as Morse code. Open, closed, open, open, closed, open, open. Another sign written on cardboard. We live in a drought. Please don't wash your car. I unlock the booth where my mother keeps the cash box duct taped to the bottom of the counter, a pistol tip taped next to it in case of robberies. I told her no one would steal from a business that deals primarily in coins, but my mother said you always have to be ready for war. During martial law in Taiwan, the radio recited instructions in case communists invaded the island. Everyone over the age of 10 was required to learn how to shoot a gun. At elementary school, they aimed at cantaloupes with painted-on faces. The melons were mounted on broomsticks and attracted birds to their honey blood. My mother shot so many birds by accident that the sparrows took revenge and returned as ghosts, shitting bullet shells on the children's heads. The truth was she didn't care whether the communists took the island or not. Both militaries were the same, made of men. During martial law, her father was confiscated by the government and returned ribless. He was the one who taught her to tie hair around the torso of a dragonfly and leash it to her finger. My mother made it fly until it died of exhaustion. When she came home crying, her father said, "That's how all things die, leashed to what loves it." The summer my mother conceived me, she forgot the word rain, saying instead, "The sky is sneezing." Since then, we've had to keep a list of her slippages, the way she confuses all English words that start with the same letter, inventing her own dialect of disappearance. Bird the water, she says, meaning boil it. Instead of names, she calls people by their smell. Sweat daughter, buttery mailman. One summer, the names of cities became her last memory of them. City where smoke lives, city where I spent my teeth, city where I sleep blindfolded by the sky, city I don't know my name. In the dark beside Hui Ling, I tried to chart a pattern of her losses, a way to predict what would vanish next. I add myself to the bottom of the list, along with the names of birds, islands, car models, Kaohsiung, California, a whole syllabus of sorrows, a list of what we'd grieve namelessly. My mother's prayers have long since gone extinct from the sky, along with her ability to remember the word for pray. She says instead, hinge, hinge. I say this word when I touch Hui Ling, whinge, hinge, and she asks what I mean while bending her knees, hurting my mouth to her thirst. Her hair turns tinsel where the light touches it. I imagine plucking out a strand and tying our thumbs together, living like this, knotted and taut, a hair thrumming a song in the space between us, a wrist of river, a perch to land on. I unlock the box, slot the quarters into the car wash, climb back into the driver's seat. Hui Ling buckles her seatbelt, and I tell her she doesn't need to. It goes slow and straight. She ignores me, and I let her buckle mine too. The soap is wider than I remember, so bright that it's morning inside the whale's mouth. Water bruises the windows, and the brush is lower, making the same metallic sound that Hui Ling makes at night when her molars grind together. I've told her for months to get a mouth guard, that one day she'd wake with a jaw full of sand, but she says I should mind my own damn mouth. But her teeth didn't matter to me. I just wanted her to know that I listened to her sleep, eavesdropped on her dreams, that I knew things about her body she wasn't even awake for, that once I pressed my ear to her belly button as if it were a seashell, as if I could hear my own blood harmonizing inside it, or the sea sewing a shoreline, or the water jetting over us, cleaving our breaths from our mouths. Hui Ling closes her eyes and the radio is playing the weather. It predicts rain. It predicts the sun will shut down, the sky will foreclose, but we will still be sitting here next year. I caught my mother once after the car wash was closed, standing in the parking lot with the pistol in her hands, aiming up at the sun. The only army that's coming, she said, is the rain, the sky saddling our backs. I watch Hui Ling lean out the window, the seatbelt taut as the tendons in her neck when I touch them. She reminds me of those dogs on the highway with their heads lolling out of the window, their tongues flapping in the wind like flags, fur blown so flat you can see the exact shape of their skulls. We are in the silent part of the wash, when the brushes move like tongues over a pelt, when there are no subtitles between us. What is said can only mean one thing at a time. I say, you need to get a mouth guard. What I want her to say, when the car wash is over, let's do it again. Let's do it until there's no water left in all of California, and everyone becomes a casualty of our thirst. Hui Ling's hand moves toward the door. I think at first that she's going to get out, like that time we drove to Reno together and brought the rain with us, the rain thick as a belt lashing the highway, and so we pulled over in the middle of the desert and waited out, wondering what part of a river is its mouth, the end or the beginning, and she laughed at me, running along the side of the highway with her mouth open and her back shining like a stroked pelt. In the motel room later, she didn't let me dry her hair or wring out her clothes to hang in the windows. She stood soldier straight, wearing the water like lace, decorated in holes. She scrolls down the window, lets the water avenge all the rain we've ever wasted. It floods our laps, soaks its tongue in the sweat between our legs. She says I should call her a god. She can make rain without a sky. She proves it to me by pressing 2 buttons down with her tongue, lowering all the windows at once. Thank you for listening. That is the story. The end. Yeah, so it's a very short one. It's kind of like an interlude in the collection. And as I said, Melon is kind of this like recurring character in it. And yeah, I never thought I'd write about a car wash, or that a car wash is in any way like an erotic place, but it kind of became that. And now that I'm also back home in California, I think a lot about the drought and just the incredible brownness of the landscape, which is something that I missed while I was in New York. Yeah. Oh, so thank you also for your comments. There's a bit of a lag, but I can see them now. And if you have any questions or comments for me and anything you want to ask about, like literally anything, my process, my writing, anything, please feel free to leave a comment and I can answer some questions. Oh, I have one here. Very exciting. Wow. I love answering questions. Is Melon like an everyman character for you, or do you imagine her as different people with different lives? Oh, that's a good one. I feel like, oh, this is really interesting because sometimes Melon is like, she's like a first person character, like in here, or sometimes I write her in third person. I feel like she's almost like a camera for me in that she herself, like she's kind of a fairly passive person, but she's like very observant of the world around her. And so she's kind of like this vehicle I use to navigate this particular world, which is like queer Taiwanese and Chinese American young women in working class suburbs in California. And in particular, this name Melon as well. Like, I just love the image it evokes of like, I don't know, like a weird ripeness. And yeah, and like I'm obsessed oftentimes in my writing with like ideas of consumption and what is like consumable and the way that we look at the bodies of these women too. So I thought it was a little bit like a little bit clever to be like, oh, I'm gonna like name all these girls after fruit and like they're gonna be so Taiwanese. Yeah. Oh, thank you. I'm glad it was intense. Oh yeah, thank you for the comment on turning the car wash into an erotic landscape. What's really interesting is like I feel like the reason why I'm like things like car washes or droughts I'm really interested in writing about is because I have like these two landscapes that haunt my work, and one of them is like this extremely lush, rainy, typhoon-ridden landscape of Taiwan, which is a very tropical place and is very abundant. And like I think of ripeness, and I think of like my mom telling stories of like the papaya grove that smelled like garbage, and like all of these like all of this very intense wetness, if that makes any sense. Moistness, that's like kind of a gross word, but like wet and moist. And then on the other hand, it's like the places that my family immigrated to, which is like desert, like Nevada, Reno, the very dry, like Southern California, no rain at all. Like going from this place where like rain and water is like incredibly abundant to a place where it's like, don't wash your car, don't take showers, waiters can't refill your water. Like this place of thirst and want and desire and just like dryness and then barrenness, and like having these two really drastic landscapes in my family history is like very interesting to me. So I try to write about both. Oh yes, yeah, that's a good comment. Yeah, there's like just a very common thing of like describing women as edible, like women of color as edible, or consumable in some way. And yeah, fruit is a very like sapphic thing as well. Like um, I have like regular conversations with friends about which fruit is the most sapphic. But yeah, so it's like, yeah, it's really interesting to play with those things, like fruit also as a very erotic thing too, and like ripeness and um, yeah, I these are all like such smart and terrific comments. I'm very honored to be in your presence. Um, Beautiful images. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, you can probably tell I'm not the most plot-driven person. I'm very drawn to images and um, like I think of my stories as more like accumulations rather than like a chronological thing, or a plot-driven thing. It's very much like I think of accumulation and ways that images can resonate and recur throughout a piece, and each time it returns with like more intensity and different implications, and hopefully has like an element of surprise as well. And those are the stories that I love to read best as well, ones that feel like there's just like this overwhelming accumulation, um, and like a bit of a twist as well. Um, yeah, I don't know, any other questions. I think we're nearing the end of our time. Probably maybe just another couple minutes. But wow, yes, thank you. Wow, it's so exciting, so exciting. Um, hmm. How does your writing process change when writing poetry versus essay versus your debut novel? Oh God, my novel. I'm so scared, guys. um, um, how does it change? Um, I will confess that I kind of feel like I'm I've temporarily put poetry a little bit on a back burner. I think for me, it's the process is really similar. I spend a lot of time like collecting language, and then I go sentence by sentence and try to be very language oriented no matter what I'm writing. But I think what like I guess the urge to switch between genres comes more from like when one genre starts to cause me so much anxiety and I start to feel very like locked in, I just immediately jump ship and switch. Like with poetry, I just felt so much anxiety because I had all these like built up all these expectations for how I wanted my poetry to sound and what is a poem and all these things. And I was like, okay, I need to do something where I have no expectations for myself, where I know nothing about the techniques or the genre or the basically I just need to be way over my head, and and for some reason that is like more accessible and calming to me. So I was just like, okay, let's just like I don't know what a character is. I don't know what a plot is. I don't know any of these things. And so I felt very liberated and very much like in a place of complete play, and just like exploration and just like writing things that are like really terrible but that I didn't judge myself for. And I think that was the place that the novel came out of. It was very much like this place of play and um, just like finally feeling like I wasn't like constantly commenting on my own stuff as I was doing it. Um, yeah, and so it was just like it was a very freeing process, I think. And it was only because I wasn't thinking that I was like, I'm writing a novel, like I'm writing prose, I'm like trying to construct this thing. I just literally like one sentence at a time was just like, I don't know anything about this form, therefore I can't go wrong. I can't screw it up. So I was like, oh, um, yeah. So that was my process for writing that. It was just very much like, you know, very much experimenting and like just being in a place of fantasy. Like I think a lot about, I don't know if it's like a Judith Butler quote. I'm not sure. I haven't actually read Judith Butler, so I don't know if I'm like correctly quoting her, but like the one about the foreclosure of fantasy and how that is incredibly like painful and damaging. And so I'm always thinking about ways to like prevent that foreclosure of fantasy, having this like opening of fantasy and um, to be in that place of play is, yeah, very important to me. Um, just students of the rewatch, I just want to say I love your work so much. Oh my god! Thank you. Okay, it's gonna be, the poems are gonna be very slow in coming, but um, thank you so much. That means so much to me. I'm very honored to have you all as my watchers right now, and also for your comments about being excited for the novel. Oh no, thank you all so much. Yeah, so my book is coming out this September. It's called Bestiary, September 8th. It's I have to like prevent myself from being like, it's not good, guys. Like have low expectations, but like um but yeah, have it's a little um yeah, it was just me, I guess, trying to take a lot of like family stories and oral histories and trying to have fun with them and again to be in that place of playfulness and fantasy and a lot of magic, a lot of magic. Yay! Okay, I think I will then. Any last questions if you have them, but I think I will close out um, in a minute. Oh, thank you. Fantasy, staying in a place of play. Yes, exactly. Oh, thank you. Okay, I'm gonna start. I realized that I can actually like interact and heart on this chat. I don't know why I haven't been doing that this whole time. But thank you. Yeah, I mean, people often tell me that my writing is very has a lot of darkness and a lot of violence. And it's always very interesting for me to hear because I see it, but I also um, try to like use language to invent and to open up that the place like the darkness. Um, yeah, okay. I don't know if that was coherent at all. I'm just like making movements. Anyway, sorry. Okay, thank you so much, everyone, for your comments and for your enthusiasm and for being excited to read my very silly book. Do I end now? Okay, I will end. I'm like 20 seconds away from hitting 30 minutes, so I'm just gonna wait for that, and then I'm gonna end. But yeah, thank you so much. I feel so much gratitude, and also your questions were so thoughtful. Um, Bye all. I hope you have a good rest of your day or evening.